be recorded. Um, so I really like how I feel at this moment. Relax is something I haven't felt in a bit. Oh, thank you for sharing that, Jamie. That is beautiful. So Jamie just shared that she likes how she feels and relax isn't something she's accessed. So despite us doing an energizing breath, we were mind clearing, and part of the mind clearing will give us a sense of relaxation. So I'm going to give you two other little tools. This is not a physical practice, but try this with me. You're going to put your hands on your heart like this. So I just want to also recognize that my screen is fuzzy, but recognize that when we put our hands on our heart, you may or may not know when we do this consciously, unconsciously rather, we put our hands on our heart when we're feeling for someone else. Usually this is a symbol or a symptom of compassion. We're holding our heart. So if someone just told you something horrible that happened to them, you'd go, oh my gosh, and you hold your heart for them. So, what if anytime we want, any moment of the day, we hold our hearts for us? So, you take a whole, literally feel as if you're holding your heart in your hand because it's so tender that you're going to take a deep breath into that holding. And if one deep, nourishing breath wasn't enough to give that heart the attentive listening that it needs, do it again. I like that, Sharon. Do it again. Do it again. And third one. So that simple, simple, simple act, we do it anyway. We've already used our hands like this. Give yourself that inward compassion. Let me give you one other tool. When do you go like this in your day-to-day life? You don't even have to put it in the chat, I'll answer it for you. We go like this in our day-to-day life when we're losing our marbles, right? We're like, oh my, this usually has an F in it. Oh my effing God, like I can't take this anymore. How many times a day are you doing this right now? Probably 30 times a day when you're like, oh, you know why we do this? Like, we didn't get a memo when we were born to say when you're overwhelmed, put your hands on your head. So, but we universally, if I did this in a cartoon, we'd all know that that person was stressed out. What makes us stressed? What makes us stressed is our thoughts. When we disarm our thoughts, we have nothing to stress about because we can't attach to the thought that was making us stressed. Guess what helps to disarm the thinking process? Physical manual touch. So when we touch our frontal lobe, there's a physiological reaction that makes it so you can no longer process thought at that moment when you're touching, when you're feeling that. So again, taking deep thought. Sorry, taking the deep thought. Taking the deep breath to take away the deep thought. So 3 tools are ready that we've adapted. Super simple, weaving into any time of our day. Priming breath, generally standing up a little more energizing. You can do it sitting down. You don't have to be standing up. You can do that with your class. Please try it. See how they feel. See what kind of reaction you're getting from that. Everything I'm teaching you today is not as a tool for your teaching. It's a tool for you to anchor, ground, and center. It may also help your students, but learn it today for you. Put your oxygen mask on first. Once you're centered, you say, wow, this kind of works. I'm going to pass this on. So these are tools. Compassion breath, holding your own heart. When you touch your heart, you're literally saying, I've got you. You're not alone. And who better to hold you up than yourself, right? And connecting to energy, that's what we said about nature, connecting to energy around you, meaning not around you in the school, but around you in nature. And then we had the head clearing. So you don't have to hold it tight. You can even just take some moments to brush your forehead. How simple is this? And this is like preventative stress. Like even before you get to overwhelm, you clear, right? All right, so now let's do some physical movements. And similarly, this is super simple. Even as we get into the physical movements, they're in service of bringing us into the moment. So it's not like, oh, well, when I get really good at yoga, then I can put my leg behind my head. You might be able to, but who cares? How do you get through your day? Okay. So because you might be doing this in school or you might be doing this in, your living room or in your kitchen, I'm going to have you just stand up and grab either a table or a chair. And we'll do cat and cow on table or chair. So I'm using, obviously, the chair here. And you can see now that I've brought my back into table position. If you're higher and you're on a table, come onto your elbows so you can be in table position, or even come onto your straight arms. If this were table height for you here, you can come onto your straight arm on the table. And you can do this with your class too. But again, today we're here for you. So we're going to exhale, round your spine. Inhale, open your chest. Exhale, cat and cow. Super simple. You may have done this 1,000 times, like Cecily taking yoga with me 30 years ago. Can you believe that, Cecily? That's probably true. Round the spine. But how do you weave it into your day? If you're not making it to the studio, most of us aren't, studios aren't really open. How do we weave this in? Where does it fit? I can do this on my bathroom counter before I brush my teeth. And then if you want to take this a little more physical, get into the hips, access the hips, we round and take one knee in. So this isn't about achieving anything. We're not going to win in accomplishing this ultimate position. And it's less about the physical form of what I'm showing you now and more about the breath rhythm. So instead of the breath rhythm just being in and out through your nose, imagine that the breath rhythm is in and out through your whole body. And this whole position is inhale, full extension, exhale, full grounding. So we're on the same leg still. If you're doing this one and you want to make it even more challenging still, you can see now that I've released one hand. If you're wiggling all around and that's super distracting to your breath rhythm, leave it down. Okay. So let's take a break and then take your hips around a little bit. So just wiggling around. Maybe even just wiggle around your shoulders. And then before we do the other side, we can try downward dog and upward dog. So my arms are sort of at the level that they'd be at on a table. But if you're down on a chair, that's okay too. So downward dog would look like this on table or chair. Deep breath. And what we're doing here in downward dog is in service of opening your heart. So let your heart fall between your shoulders. Inhale, come forward and open upward dog. So right here, important that your hips don't sag like this because that's putting pressure in your low back. So let's pull them in and open your heart, open your shoulders. Exhale, downward dog. So now I'm doing the variation that would be on the chair. If you were up here or even a little higher, the variation that would be on a table. Feels good. So try your downward dog, upward dog 2 more times. Inhale, exhale. A little bigger variation of what we were doing before, which is cat and cow. So I'm just kind of giving you some pointers here. How can I do yoga anywhere, anytime? How do I weave it in throughout my day as a tool to drop into a tuning? Tune in. We've all heard the term tuning out, like you tune out when things are overwhelming. What about tuning in? It's a little uncomfortable. We often tune out on our phones. All right, we got the other leg to do with in and out. So tuck and extend. And tuck. Draw it in. Extend. And tuck. So we're doing a few of those round that spine. I was doing on the tabletop variation with my hands as if they were on a tabletop, and now they're back down to the seat of the chair. These are different variations. Notice the rounding of the spine. Your hand can come in. Arm can come out. Arm can come in. Arm can come out. Right, that's to make it a little more challenging. And then put your leg back down when you're ready. And again, moving those hips around. And then come right up and just move your shoulders around. So that's little practice, mini practice, cat and cow. You don't have to be on a mat. You don't have to be on the ground. You can do that with yourself. You can do that with your students. Take a moment to stand. center. This is called mountain pose. I'm just bringing the hands to the heart. Take a deep breath. See how that feels. So we're dropping into your center. Where is your center? You might not have any idea because you might not have been able to visit here since last February. Sometimes it's a little scary there, sometimes a little uncomfortable. You might get fidgety, you might get restless. If you're experiencing that now, that is normal. This is uncomfortable because it's not familiar. We haven't been hanging out here. Good. We'll take a few more movements. So that could be just your mini practice. That could be a 5-minute practice anytime, any place, in your classroom, at your home. So now most of the places you are, you can find a chair. So let's find a chair again. If you don't have a chair, you can put your leg up on your desk, but that's going to be kind of high up on your desk. So let's put your leg up on the seat of a chair if you have one handy. All right. So we're going to go with your hands on the chair. We're going to hop your back leg back. So that's at an angle. And I'm just dropping my back knee down. And then I'm going to pull my hips back. I'm going to inhale, come forward, open my chest. If dropping the knee down doesn't feel good, stay right here. Exhale. Drop that knee down toward the ground. So I'm getting a beautiful stretch here through the hip flexor, and I'm working around the pelvis. If you want to make this a little more challenging, if this feels simple for you, you can come up in your hands. It's really nice to do yoga with furniture rather than just floating out in the middle of the room or in the middle of a mat because it's grounding and anchoring. And in these challenging times, anchoring and grounding is really a helpful tool for us. So furniture is great. Use your furniture. We can hang out here a little bit longer. Take a few deep breaths. Move your head around. Maybe even sway your hips around. And then since we finished that leg like we did before, we do our little vinyasa flow. We can do a downward dog. So this would be on the table. This is down on the chair, down on the seat of the chair. Upward dog. Lots of ways we can do the variation. Remember not to sag those hips. Keep them in line with your shoulders and open your heart. Downward dog. Lock it in, back to your mountain breathing, and then I recognize we have the other side yet to do in our lunging. Drop into your breath. So these practices I'm giving you can be done in succession like we just did in a class style format, or they can be done alone. Like, so you've been sitting for a while teaching, get up and do your lunges. If your back's feeling a little stiff, get up and do your cat and cow. So I've just changed the chair to the other side simply so you can see. Now we're going to step up with the other leg, the one you haven't done yet. My foot's on the seat of the chair. This can be way up on a counter or something if you really want to go for that stretch. It doesn't have to be low. And then we're going to hop your back leg back and go down into your front thigh and back. Maybe you just put your foot up on the tub when you're cutting your toenails. And you go, before you do that, you take a deep breath and you go, wow. And then we can go down in that thigh, right? That's really getting into the hip flexor area. And exhale. And forward. So if one of the positions feels great and you want to hang out there, you don't have to stay moving in between. You can say a few breaths there. If you want to make it more challenging, lifting your hands, working a little more strength there. You want to make sure your knee's above your ankle and that you're not going like that. So you can see that's why we hopped the leg back previously. We'll come in the head to knee variation and we're going to hang out here a little bit. So if you're a little less flexible, I'm kind of flexible. I've been doing this my whole life. So if you're less flexible, don't be like, oh, I got to push into that. No, bend your knee. Just drop your body, hang over it, and feel your lower back opening up. Start to straighten your leg. You'll get your hamstrings, but don't strain them. You don't want to get to the point of resistance. You know that with your students, you push them to the point of resistance and they don't want to learn. Gotta ease into this just like you did with them. We'll take that foot down, downward dog, upward dog, and then walk it in, standing in mountain pose. So we did two mini series so far. We did the cat and cow, downward dog, upward dog on the chair, table position, and we just did the lunging series. Okay, I'll give you a few other series so we can run through little things. Before I continue, I would like to just check in with you guys. If you want to give me a chat or pop your screen back on, tell me if we're on the right track. Tell me how these are feeling. Tell me if these mini series are something you might be able to weave into your day, either at your school day or at your home. Hello. It's working for a thumbs up there. Any body parts you want to address, that things that you're feeling? Okay, that's great. Thank you for that feedback. And if you want to pop on your screen, we were just kind of advised this area, but if you have an area that you're like, God, I just feel my stress so much in this space that you want to address, head and neck, so hips. Okay, great. So I'll try to get to both head and neck, hips. Feel free to drop that in the chat anytime. I am here for you. So I need to know what's going on with you so I can serve you, right? So head and neck, I'll give you just a few easy standing exercises, some seating. Other ones I have for head and neck, I would do on the ground. So you can do these at home. So what I'll do is I'll show them to you here. And keep in mind, all these classes that we're offering are going to be on YouTube. So you can access them if you can't remember what to do. You don't have to be like taking notes right now. You can pull this class up anytime and follow along with it and be like, oh yeah, I remember. I forgot what that stretch was that we did, right? So you can do that later. So head and neck we'll start because that was the first tip I got, and then hips we'll show next. So we're just gonna bring one arm up. So I'm gonna mirror with you guys. So you'll bring your left arm up and turn your head away. Good. And then bring your hand, it looks like this, behind your head. Bring it back up. Bring your arm down and turn your head. And now we'll try that with the breath. It's important to stay vertically aligned, that your head's not dropping forward. Stay vertically aligned. Bring that arm up. Same side, straight elbow. Your palm is facing inward. That's called medially. Turn your head away. Bend it. This is optional. Push your head a little bit into your hand. Straighten it back up. Deep breath. Bring your head down. Let's do that one more time. Inhale. Turn your head. Bring it open if you choose. Up and bring it down. So now with your same hand, you can see I went to hitchhiker mudra with my hand. What that's going to do is give you a little more external rotation with the shoulder. We're going to rise it up right here. Okay. So my thumb is open. You can do this with your left hand mirroring me. And turn your feet away from your hand. So now my feet are pointing that way and I'm looking back, and then come back. So now my feet are pointing this way. So again, pivot your feet 90 degrees away from your hand. And back to center. One more. Turn your hips, but leave that arm. Now we'll pulse it back. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, and drop it down. Deep breath. Notice the difference in sensation. Those were just 2 quickie exercises. Does it not feel like that left arm's about 4 inches lower? Like you got a monkey arm on that side? Yeah, and this one's still kind of bound up where it was. I'm gonna just give you simple. This isn't even a yoga pose. Just simple elbow exploration. While you're doing this, I invite you to follow the elbow with your nose. Deep pull. Exhale, ribs, turn, elbow, turn. So we'll try to reverse that while I talk to you about something. So you stay with that movement. I'm going to talk to you about one of the reasons we get tension in your head and neck. Your quick answer, the short answer might be stress. Yes, of course. But the main reason we get tension in the head and neck is related to lack of mobility in the thoracic spine. That is this part of your vertebra. We tend to be pretty frozen up there like this, right? So if we're going to put on our seatbelt, how many of you just go like this? Like to grab it, right? What if we go, so we're not doing that movement from your shoulder. We're doing it from this part of your torso. Let's try it. Pretend you're getting your seatbelt out of the car. Reach for it. Turn everything. Deep breath. Turn everything across. Now do it in your old unconscious way, right? You can feel how frozen this is, right? So what that's telling you is all these regular gestures that we do in our life, we've learned how to do it without mobilizing the thoracic vertebra. And as a result of this frozenness, your head hangs out like this. And it creates tension right where she showed me. Okay? So we're trying to free up the thoracic movement, and that's what this elbow one is. So let's go right to this one on the other side. We're going to go in reverse order on our other side. So we're doing this one first. This is the side you haven't done. Probably you're right if you're mirroring the screen. And do it with your breath. The breath is our conduit that pulls us to this moment. Exhale. Inhale. Follow it with your eyes. Pretend this is your real seatbelt arm. So pretend you're reaching for that seatbelt with your whole body. There. Wait till your kids see you doing this. Like, Mom, have you lost your mind? Oh, yeah. And then we reverse it. Put it in. So you're feeling that whole, this is your thoracic vertebra. It goes from the base of your neck to where your spine starts to curve in. And there are 12 thoracic vertebrae. And in most of us, they're pretty frozen. Okay, so our next exercise that we did, we're reversing the order from the other side. And now I can't remember. I know we did this one. Oh, we did this one. So out to the side. Thumb out. A lot of energy pulling here through the thumb. We turn your feet away all the way. So if you're, this is nice to do. If you have your classroom wall right there, put your nose and your thumb right away on the wall, like lean right into the wall, your fingers on the wall, and then turn on the wall. So your left hip's now, or sorry, your right hip's now on the wall. Yeah, you got it. Perfect. And then face the wall again, going in and out of this and massaging those movements with the breath rhythm. Turn and pull. Back. Good. See, you can do that anytime, right? You don't even need a wall. You can simulate a wall. If you have a wall, use a wall. You just have your desk, do it against your desk. Okay. And now the last movement, we take that left arm. No, it's your right arm. Sorry, guys. Right arm up. Turn your head away. Bring your hand down. Push your chest up. Reach back up. Bring your arm down. Look over your shoulder, the lowering arm. Full rotation. Keep both shoulders out. So here's our inhale. Turn your head away. Reach, reach, reach. Bring it down. There are 1,000 more little exercises like this we could do. These are 3 to start you off. What I'll do maybe for future weeks when I'm doing the GMMs, give me a minute. I can post a few more practices like this. Just a couple minute practices. Tools. Deep breath. Reach behind. Feel what that feels like. Pressure that hand and pressure your head back at the same time. Reach it up. Roll it down. Turn away. And then let's circle your shoulders together. We can even pretend for just a second that someone's rubbing those shoulders. Can you only imagine? All right. So here is an interesting little also exercise. You can put your hands like this, cross them, and you can give your shoulders a little massage and your neck. When you bring your hands in from behind like that, you can trick your body for a second that it's someone else's hands. It kind of works. I mean, nothing's like a real massage, but this is a real massage. You're giving it to yourself. And then right down your neck and throat, across your chest. Deep breath. I'm not sure what's going on either. Oh, Jamie had a problem with the computer. Okay, so is the person who requested hips still here? Don't know. I think that was Michelle. Maybe she had to go. Let's see who's here. It's just Miss Salami. Oh, Jamie's still here. Great. What is your name? Oh, I don't hear your sound either. You're not muted, but that happened with Jamie too. Didn't hear her. Well, if you want to put it in the chat, it's nice to meet you, and your hair looks great, which is always important. So, hi, Lori. Thanks for. Did you get what you needed out of that little tidbit with your shoulders? Oh, school inside school ticks. Okay, great, awesome. All right, so Jamie, for your hips, this was what I was going to do anyway. So we're going to take chair or wall, whatever you got, whatever you want. You can even use a desk. I'm going to put my butt against the desk or against the wall or against the chair, any of the above. Okay, so I'll back up a little so you can see my full body. Take your legs wide. Mirror image, let's pivot your feet to your right. And we're going to slide down your leg. Obviously, you can do this free in space. You don't need something behind you, but why I like something behind me, it gives me a sense of where that axis is because it's really easy to turn into this triangle and come forward like this. And we want to align right out over the leg. And by using the wall or the chair, it gives you a little bit better sense of that axis. The other thing that it gives you is something to push into. So I'm now using my hand right there and I'm pushing down so that I can reach up. So you can feel how this is working your torso. And then, Lori, to work the head and neck in this pose while we're releasing the hips, we turn your chin down and pull your hand a little bit back. And then we pull your arm straight up and turn your head up. And Jamie, to work a little more into the hip, we go down, over. Now we're working the back hip and the front hip. We come up and stretch. Do the head for Lori. Here, here, down, here. Good. Let's do the shoulder for Lori. Down, through. Other way. Down, through. Let's bring it back up. Turn your feet to parallel. And we'll take a wide angle forward bend out and over the leg. So it's always great to do things symmetrically, but if you're having an issue on one side of your body, or if you just don't have time, do one side. It's not a big deal. So let's take a little wiggle back and forth. And then again, coming back to center. So keep in mind, like if I just had time to just do that side because my left hip was a little wonky or my shoulder was wonky, then just do that side. So let's go to the other side. If you have time, turn your feet, right? So I have my seat against something. My feet are now turning and I go over. So you're feeling a nice stretch through the groins, a nice stretch through this hip, a nice opening through here. And remember, try to bring your head and your shoulders back toward the wall you're against or the chair you're against. And then here's for the neck and shoulder. Turn your chin down. Bring your arm back a little bit. Sorry about the barking dog. Bring your arm up. Look up at it. Bring your arm back. Bring your head down right to the collarbone. Deep breath. Bring your arm up. Gaze it right up. Good. And then we bend into that knee. Take it over. Stretch out the leg. Bend. Take it over. Stretch out the leg. Bend. Circle. All the way out behind you. Circle. Back to center. Bring your arms out wide. Pull down in both elbows, both knees. And then fold over, forward bend again. If you don't want to come right down to the ground, if you're not feeling great about that, you can do your forward bend, wide angle, right into a chair, into a table. Deepen your breath here. So something to note that I mentioned earlier in our description is I said when you touch your forehead, it sort of disarms the thoughts quite a bit. So in a forward bend, if you can use a seat cushion or ideally even have a little towel with you. Does anyone, I mean, some of you might have know Kelly has and the aromatherapy essential oil, something like that. Bring a washcloth to school, have a little oil, put it on your head. Take just a moment, literally to go, maybe your mint or your lavender, just put it on your desk with a little washcloth. You'll be amazed. Some of you have diffusers, I know that, but you'll be amazed what that can do for you. You can take a little washcloth right now. You can put it on your seat, on the chair here, and put your head on it in a wide angle forward bend and take 5 breaths. This can reset your entire day by having the contact, the physical contact with your frontal lobe, your forehead, skin. You are giving your thoughts permission to suspend. You are having that physical contact with that space and sort of disarming. If you remember Etch-a-Sketch, it's the physical equivalent to shaking the Etch-a-Sketch, where you kind of erase, erase, erase. So we're down to just 2 of you here, and you can see that my forehead was just smushing into the wicker. Tell me in the chat. I don't think I can hear either of you. So tell me in the chat if you want. Is there another body part or is there another type of practice that I can help guide you with that would give you a little bit more tools? I know we've touched on many things. For every practice that I gave you, that's like a mini 5-minute practice, there's 50 others that it could evolve into. So if some of the movements didn't work for you, feel free to reach out to me and I will follow up with you directly and independently to say, let's see, how can I help address that and give you a mini movement specific for you. And I'm not at all here for a commercial, but if you find like you really want to do this kind of stuff for yourself and you want a personalized program, we can design that specifically for your needs in your body. Because what I'm giving you today is answering your, quick chats, but I can give you, more if that's something that you need and crave. But if you have a few questions for me or you want me to give you a quick video in the GMMs that give me a minute, I can add those every week and address, oh, well, this week, let's do something for our breath. This week, let's do something for our neck and shoulders, so that kind of thing. It helps me to have some guidance from you guys to know how I can best serve you. So I don't have any chats coming in. Let's see. I'm good, but miss the breath. Stress to fit all this in. I need to grab a bite. Okay, you go ahead. Thank you. I'm glad you gave yourself a minute. So awesome. Thank you for letting me know. How about you, Jamie? Is there anything else I can do to serve you, or do you want to skedat too? If you have my permission, this is all just self-care. So. Guy, maybe Jamie had to run. All right. Well, thank you for being here with me. I really appreciate it, you guys. Hopefully you got some tips and tools to look inward, to take a time in, and to listen and care for yourself. So thank you very much.